Okay, welcome to Business Belters, episode 24. We're getting through them now. It's like we're naturals now, eh?
Yeah, it's getting right there. So we're about, what, 25% of the way there
I know.
No, I think 100's the one I'm looking forward to. I think that'll be like a big...
I know. We need to do something in 50. I think 50 is a big number in 100.
So what is it with 50? Is it like silver wedding? Like, what would you say that is, the 50? We'll do
something purple.
So it's like an episode about silver surfers or something.
Just like, boo! Yeah, so today what I wanted to talk about was business culture. I've got some good stories around about it. We've been building a really good business culture recently. And I really would like to kind of share it with the kind of community to give them some sort of ideas of what I've done. And I know that, again, you've got some brilliant ideas. You've had some brilliant, in different businesses.
Yep.
You've built some brilliant cultures as well. So I wanted to kind of just get into it, really sort of understand, like, how you create a business culture, like what is business culture, I think a lot of businesses don't even think about it. I think a lot of businesses are like, yeah, let's just hit the ground running, don't really have a vision, mission statement, culture, and they just get started with their business, and they don't really understand the importance of having a really good business culture and what it can do for your staff, but also for sales of the business as well. So do you want to kind of kick us off? Tell us about
I'll kick us off for that. So I think before we kind of get into the topic, it's probably worth addressing like why we kind of feel a business culture is even that important. There's two schools of thought, there's probably many schools of thought, but there's two main schools of thought that I dial into with this. There's people that believe businesses are driven by process and that the processes just tend to deal with things, so it doesn't really matter who the staff are, they follow the process, they have job roles, and the kind of mechanics of it kind of deal with it. And a lot of people, they reference the McDonald's model for that, so they're just saying it's like very highly process driven. It's a big machine. You can almost like replace any person in your team with another person and it runs just as smoothly. And I understand from a business perspective that can be quite attractive, but of course there's the counter argument, and it's actually the side of the coin I sit on, and I suspect probably you sit on as well. And that's regards to, while process and standard operating procedures are important, they're not the be all and end all. So I'm much more of a people person, and the culture of my companies is really important to me. So I want people coming to work feeling fulfilled. I want people coming to work and thinking, I'm really happy about this. I like being here. I like the way this is kind of working out for me. And I think that how they feel is part of that culture. So I don't want them just kind of rocking up and it's like this is a holiday camp. I want them kind of coming in and they've got like a sense of purpose. Mm-hmm. So for me, I've always had that kind of mission statement, culture, values piece, which is like, what are we trying to create? So when you create a company, it's like giving life to something. Mm-hmm. And I think it's a chance for you to stamp what's important to you, your ethos. But in an ideal sense, an experience has kind of taught me that I want to draw that for my team as well. Yeah. So I want them to feel as if like, this is what we're all about, not what John's all about. Yeah. Because it kind of brings more success with it.
Do you want to talk to me about that then? Do you want to give the community a little bit of a spiel about, why did you create a business culture, and then what are your values? What give you going into that?
So the first time I was ever exposed to values was BIP Solutions, so passion, integrity, respect. It was in loads of posters on the wall, and I noticed that the Daily Record never really had that, and it was something that stood out to me as quite profound. And a lot of people were kind of laughing and joking about it, thinking, just putting things in a mouse mat and a desktop doesn't mean that's our company values. And I'm like, I don't think you can kind of avoid it, because I think that people get like institutionalized to messaging that goes on around them, and we see that in brand all the time. So if you keep saying like, passion, integrity, respect, and then people keep referencing that to you and saying, like, is that really showing passion for your job there though, Mark? Like, that sounds more like you're treating it as it's a paycheck. And it's kind of like, okay, that's like my mate that's saying that to me. That's not like a manager. Like, somebody's picking up on that. And I think that the values themselves, they should be everywhere. So when I've kind of like launched my own companies, I always knew that I wanted to have that. So originally, I kind of set my values up, and I had like people over profit, and I've had that in every company I've ever made, and it's the one that's kind of stuck with me. So it's like, if you went to a desert island and you could take one value with you, that would be the one. Because I think that great businesses are built around relationships. So to me, the most important thing is the people. And I don't just mean the clients when I say that, because it's not clients over profit, it's people. And I mean the suppliers. Like, I want to pay my suppliers on time, pay them fast, look after them, try to think of things that I can kind of give to them that would benefit me, but also it would kind of create a good relationship with the staff. I want to inspire a great working culture where they feel that it's okay to challenge, you know, you're not actually being bad by doing that. Like, I want to hear their ideas. And also for the clients to see that, you know, I would actually take their happiness as a client over making a few extra quid. It's something that a contact we both know said to me is like, look, I don't need to sneak a pound out you know, I don't need to slip a fiver to remain in business. Like, we make enough money, it's fine. And it actually feels quite good. It's kind of like, you know, let me get the coffees. That's kind of what it feels like to me, to go, do you know what, that didn't maybe quite go the way I wanted it to go, so see that wee half an hour there, let's just say that never happened. So people over profit is a big one. That's been with me for many years now, and that's kind of what that means. The new values that I've kind of changed the second to for Hybrid Anchor specifically, so I've got this idea of always provide value. And the idea with that, again, is to try and push into the client that we're always analysing what they're doing. Like, how could we give that client more value? And like with the staff, you're encouraging them to say, see if you've seen an extra wee tool or a wee tip or an extra wee nugget of knowledge, share it with them. Just tell them it. And it's like, we give so much away for, I mean, they're paying us an hourly charge, but we don't need to be as proactive about suggesting things. And I like that idea that we're always like kind of looking out for what's the next thing, what's the next mega trend, because we do that for our business. Why would we not want to pass it on to the actual clients? And of course, the last one I've got is never stop learning, and this is coming back to something we're both passionate about, which is education. So I've been an advisor to the SQA. I've been a Digital Boost advisor for 4 years over 7 regions in Scotland. I've advised with WorldSkills UK as well for competition, and I'm just, you know, passionate about it. I've been a lecturer for many years as well. So for me, it's a big thing that education's been a core part of my life. But I'll always remember when I went to college, a woman came back and she spoke to us, so she'd learned Unix. I still don't know Unix, it's nothing to do with my sector, but she came back and she spoke about it, and I thought, that's amazing that somebody would kind of, that's already successful, would come here and speak to, you know, these kind of like dodgy students with their packet of McCoys and thinking they're cool as anything. But I thought it was really cool that people would do that, and I'm thinking, there's no intrinsic value to her. There's no benefit that she's getting. She's not getting paid money. She's not getting, you know, like increased exposure for her job role or her career. She's literally just doing it because she's a nice person. And I kind of always told myself, like, if you're successful, or if any of the coaches listening, when you're successful, you need to go back and do that. Like, it needs to be a thing. So I offered to kind of give career advice, and I've done it every year since I started my business. But that idea of like always be learning, I've tried to institutionalise that in our company, so that it's a case of there has to be time for that. I don't want you just producing, because then it's dangerous, because you're going to get tunnel vision and you're going to miss things that we should really be aware of. So I want the staff to kind of go, you know, what courses are you learning? You know, how are you improving yourself? And like, I constantly think about it. Like, we were talking the other night literally about, you know, maybe I'll go into this kind of like chartered marketer and kind of pick up these skills, and, you know, I've probably got bits of knowledge fragmented, but I want to kind of make things official. And that really kind of speaks to that kind of value for it, and that's kind of the 3 I came up with.
You made a really good kind of point. Why did your culture evolve? So you obviously had, you know, different kind of culture and values before, so is it just been through your experience, or did you feel that something wasn't working, like, or is it just a natural evolution?
I think, like, so really you're indicating there the values changed, like one stayed and 2 there. Like, it's kind of a bit like, it's not poker, but I think it's go fish, and you kind of say you got any jacks, no go fish, so you're switching out and making a better hand. So when I looked at the values, it was a new business is a new entity, so it's a chance to really look at it and say, do I want to have the same values as the company that I just sold or I just had? And you're thinking, some cases, yes, you do. So you look at them and you say, right, that's a great value to have. I should definitely keep that one. But with the other ones, I was trying to think about, this company's different. our client base is different, we're focused in a different area. So because we're building a lot of e-learning, I thought that would make a lot of sense to put learning as part of that. So it's like that always be never stop learning. Having that as a core value really tethers us to that e-learning space. And then I'm thinking that's actually one of my kind of superpowers, which I've kind of only just kind of discovered. You know, I hadn't really thought much about it. So I think it is an evolution in the sense of you've more like matured your values rather than supersede. So it's not like, oh, that was a mistake, I should have this instead of that. Because I mean, I've seen companies with 5 principles instead of 3 values. I've seen people with 1 just drive and force, and it's, you know, like put a dent in the universe, like the Apple one, or Disney, you know, making dreams happen, or whatever theirs is. Google's don't be evil, and then they changed it, and you're like, oh, dodgy, kill it, unplug it for the wall, you know. But it's that kind of driving force of the company, I think, is so key. But I also kind of listen to feedback as well. So when I was talking about people over profit, one of my kind of business contacts, they said to me, that makes it sound like you're a social enterprise though, rather than like a business. And I'm like, I can understand why you're saying that, but that's not what it means to me. So it's like, what does the word mean to you? You know what I mean? So if you say like a word like, say, family, it means different things to different people. So I think it doesn't really matter what the term is as such. It's more about how does it make you feel and how do you perceive it, and of course how do your staff see that as well.
I mean, I've got quite a good story around about culture. It's something that I'm quite proud of. Like recently, seeing the staff kind of really kind of solidify and talk about the culture and live the culture really. I probably told you I probably had quite a high turnover staff last year, based on COVID. You know, I think a lot of staff kind of came on, and you know they've been probably applying for about 5 other jobs, and then have left again. Other ones just didn't really just didn't fit, and then you know they kind of moved on as well. And I was scratching my head, and I was trying to figure out like, why is this? You know, I'm not like a evil boss or anything like that, you know, and I treated them well. I also felt going through the recruitment stage that everything was fine, and I could actually, like, they seemed like a good person, seemed like I could get on with them, seemed like they had the skills. So I was like, I didn't think that was the issue. And then what I do when people leave is I do like a sort of exit interview, and I had things like I wanted to move to go to a bigger company. I wanted to, move to feel more fulfilled in a different role. And I was like, this is actually just coming down to the business culture as a whole. Now, because it was me for probably a long time, I've got the cultures in my head, but I'd never really written it down. I'd never really sort of documented it. So when I sort of built the new team, kind of started about, the new team now started probably about November time, like right through to now. I was like, that I'm actually going to start just working on the culture. So I went to like a talk, and basically I went to a talk, somebody talking about culture. There was the ex-CEO of Barclays there, but I also was listening to like another podcast, like the High Performance podcast. There was a guy, Rick Lewis, and he talked about his principles. And a lot of the things that people were talking about, I was like, I actually have a brilliant culture. I literally have a brilliant culture, but we don't really talk about it, and we don't kind of write it down. I just need to kind of speak about it a little bit more. So I basically created sort of 3 kind of main sort of values. So first one being Mavens by name, Mavens by nature. So Mavens, for anybody that's listening, means trusted expert, and Mavens wanted to be your trusted expert in marketing, and that was the real sort of ethos behind the company. I was working with so many agencies and worked in different agencies, and I really didn't feel that a lot of agencies had that trust element and also that expertise element as well. I have a really good education. I'm a chartered marketer. I've studied, and I continue learning. I do see myself as an expert in my field, and I do want to be I do strive to be trustworthy. So ultimately, customers have to trust us, but as staff members, we have to trust each other as well. And it's really about doing the right thing. Then one of the ones that we created is grow together. So ultimately, we focus on startup companies and scale up companies, and we've helped startup companies, scale up companies grow. But they've helped me grow. From the very start, it's been like scale up companies. They've helped by me having a success. They've either told people about me or they've spent more money with me, and it's helped me grow my business. And it's why I'm here today and doing this podcast and all that sort of stuff. But I really wanted to try and bring this, grow together, but also have this growth mindset and have that with the staff as well. So one of the things that we do is every Friday we have a grow together meeting, and it's a real positivity meeting. So all the staff will come and they'll say, right, so I was working on ABC client and I've generated 5 leads, or I was working with John and I basically created this amazing flyer. And it gives them a real empowerment, but it also, all the rest of the staff hear it, and then they go, wow, I didn't know you did that. Because, you can get your head down, you can be sitting working through something and not actually, and also for yourself, sometimes you have a real win, but you don't celebrate that win, and it's all about celebrating the win and telling people about it. And then we kind of talk about what you learned as well. So again, you can be going through your job and you find a new way of doing something. It's about sharing that again with the group, because it will help them grow. And then what we do after that is one person stands up and does a half an hour presentation on something that they do in their job, again to help kind of people grow together. So ultimately that's like we're trying to do that to really empower the staff, and obviously it's something that's kind of ingrained in them to try and do to make sure that they help the businesses grow as well. And then the last one I've got is work hard, have fun, play nice. And that's all about, again, as you probably know me, I'm quite a kind of jovial character, but I do work hard,
Dead serious, man. Really serious. No, you're not.
But and it is, and I feel we go to work, we probably spend the majority of our time.
We certainly do.
I know we do. I know, but most people, even if they're a 9-to-5 job, it's a large part of their life. They need to come there and they need to enjoy what they're doing. So it is about kind of playing nice, and having fun with there. But it's also just, what I kind of say to them is like, the competition is not indoors. The competition is not with your peers. The competition's outside. So don't have that kind of fight with somebody. It's like, because I've got 2 marketing consultants, and it's like, I want to be working on that project. I want to be like, it's not about that. It's about helping each other. And, it's a real kind of team ethic and working together on that as well. And again, like one of the other things, I kind of stole this from a Rick Lewis one as well, is like, I'd rather have a hole in the business rather than an asshole. Because again, it's like, it's bringing that sort of,
it can bring a toxic culture. I think, see if you get one person, they can kind of contaminate another person's mindset and another, and it isn't too dissimilar to a virus in the sense of, I've seen companies that are well established and have amazing cultures go to absolutely nothing very quickly, because people start like really grinding against each other, where it's not a happy place. Yeah,
but it's been amazing to see. So I've hired 2 relatively new members of staff in the last 2-3 months, right? And in the first 3 days, like the PA, I had to leave. I was out of the office, so it was my PA. And she could have sat there and nobody could have spoke to her, because I've been in jobs like that where you've sat and then everybody's getting their work done and you're like, nobody's speaking to you. But on the Friday, she's like, I've never felt so welcome. It feels like I've been here for years, because I've just kind of fitted in like straight away. And I think that was really brought about with the culture. It was really brought about the culture of actually like bringing them in and doing the kind of grow together and all that sort of stuff. And I also feel that, going through training people in marketing and all that sort of stuff, Seekers have bought into the culture. The training's happened like rapidly. They're going out their way to learn stuff more about it. So for instance, like you're talking about processes and standard operating procedures, it's something that I like, because we've got a full service agency, we've got so many different processes, and we've got some, the core SOPs. And I was like that, to Stephanie. I said, listen, we need to do more of the SOPs. She's went away, learnt how to do SOPs herself, and then starts creating all the SOPs and going round all the staff, interviewing the staff, right, tell me exactly what you do.
How does this work?
Documenting it all. And I'm like, that's just amazing. That's really just brought about with like striving to do everything for the company. And that's like what, you know, as business owners ourselves, that's what we always do. But we have to kind of try and get them to do that. Because, like, you know, a lot of people will go, I'm just here for the money, or I'm just here, you know, because it's locality. You're really wanting to try and ingrain that culture in them so that they live and breathe what you want to do with the business. And it's great to see when, you know, you've got staff members doing that and helping each other out and supporting each other.
So I use a psychology technique when that happens. So let's just say you were on my team as a marketeer or something, and then I don't know, like there's a scenario there where it's like, yeah, we could do this and kind of put our thumb in the scales and make a bit of money or whatever, and then the person turns around and they decide, nah, that's not living our values, like, and they might not say it that way, they might just say the right thing to do by the customer is to just say that, look, we found this, so we don't need to create it, it'll save you a lot of money. So we had a client quite recently and they were asking for a privacy policy to be added to their website, and I'm thinking it doesn't really sit right with me that there wasn't a privacy policy there. I kind of feel like there must have been one at some stage. So Anya actually looked through the back end of the site, she found one, and it was already done, already pre-populated. So you have that sort of like consideration where you look at it and you say, this is already here, and then it's like, right, what will we do about this? Let's go back to the customer and say, we found this, you know, there's no charge because it was already there. Literally it was like a 10-15 minute search exercise. We're not billing you for that. And then after that I was kind of thinking, but that is her living the value, so that's exactly people over profit in action. So how do you think that client felt when I phoned them up and said, say that you were going to pay us X amount of hours to write you a privacy policy and work with you don't need to now because we've got this. And I find that doing that, but not just kind of like finding those examples, but really celebrating it. So talking about it in our Slack channel so that the team can see, you know, Mark done this is an amazing thing that he's done. But I've actually made it one of our social media pillars as well. Like one of the days, like I'm probably going to do it on like a Tuesday, where we'll talk about things like the values. So it's like living the values. So I don't want to say every week like this is our value. What I want to do is find examples and say we live these values. You know, I can pick plenty of examples to say here's how we did this one, here's how we did that one. And I think that kind of brings the client closer to you, because it realises like these aren't just arbitrary things written on a wall or on a mouse mat. They actually do follow these kind of culture. And I've noticed actually that especially like more established businesses, they really kind of dial into this. I think that companies of a certain scale and up, they like the fact you have values. Like I've actually had a lot of kind of comments about it in the sense of, I see you've got values on the wall. Whose idea was that? And you're like, what do you mean? And I'm like, I wonder if a non-exec or a coach has said to them like the importance of this. And it's almost like it's not a secret, because loads of people can, you know, you can go and read about it, like what it does to cultures. But it's about making it mean something rather than just being these kind of like, there's 3 keywords on a wall. It sounds great, but everybody pure despise it. Like, you know, imagine you had something like, you know, we are passionate and we love the customer and we do right by them. And then everybody's walking around and going like that. I just get it built, man. And I hate that. And it's like, I've actually worked in toxic cultures before where people are actively sort of like slagging customers off. So it's like they'll sit and be like, oh Mark, how you doing? Oh, it's great. Oh, how's the family? Whatever. And they put the phone down, they're like, negative comment. Not even going to repeat what they said. And I'm thinking, that's dangerous. And what's even more dangerous is there's managers and business owners overhearing that conversation and not saying anything about it. And I was like, I made a kind of commitment to myself probably about 5 years ago, and I says I will never allow one of my staff to talk badly about a customer. And I was like, can I just remind you that those people pay your wages, they pay my wages, it's because of them that we have our success. You wouldn't even sit at that computer if it wasn't for them deciding they want to do that. There is no one more important in our universe than our clients. It just has to be. And I've said it like, thankfully I had to say it a few times, but people instantly get, John really cares about this. And I think the clients can feel it, because there's a genuineness, it's not an act. But I think actual staff themselves, they need to kind of live that. They need to see it's like because I mean, imagine if we all start having a joke and you could do it easily. You could easily sort of anybody do it, and you're thinking it's a kind of form of bullying as well. You're changing how people perceive that client. Then that client's going to come in for like a tea and a coffee, and all the snide remarks that have been said, and it's an awkward scenario. And all the sniggers and all the stuff, and you're thinking that's not the kind of company I want. I don't want a culture like that, because it's like that's not what I signed up for.
No.
I want people to come in and they say, "Oh, did you see client X put a thing out on social media?" No, what was that? Oh, it's amazing, John. They were in the papers, and they had this video and all. And I'm like, right, what can we do for them? Let's push it. Or right, what we'll do is when they come in, we'll kind of hide in the. We'll kind of do happy birthday, and we'll all come out and we'll give them a present or something, like something like that, where you're thinking, let's look to inspire the staff to do things that are nice, rather than. And you're
hit the nail on the head again. It's like when you have that right culture, it's not because what I'd seen before when the people left are like, oh, it's your clients, and then like that. No, it's not. It's our clients. It's our clients. And that's what they're now like. They exactly like that. They're like, oh, Mary did this. It's brilliant. Like, or like they're researching and they're doing things because it's like they feel that it's part of them. They feel that they're part of the growth, which they definitely are. That's what I'm trying to inspire with it. But I think another good thing about culture, and you'd said this as well. You don't just write them and stick them on the wall and then go, right, that's it. You do need to kind of live and breathe them and bring them into everything. So that's why I do the Grow Together meeting. That's why I do the Maven Mondays as well. So Maven Mondays is whole Mavens by name, Mavens by nature. The trusted
so you've actually attached kind of meetings and events and content to it. That's
content and just living it day by day, and also part of like appraisals as well. So see when it comes to appraisals, and when they're going down to it and they're like that, I feel that I need a raise or whatever, and I'm like that. Well, whenever we do a Grow Together, you've never like really inspired people in a Grow Together. This is Mavens by name and Mavens by nature. When where's your trusted expertise? Like this is where you bring it into exactly the culture and the behaviour and the attitude and all that sort of stuff. So it really is just making sure it's kind of the whole way through everything that you do, because I think that's what solidifies it as well. Within the staff, because they see like they do a Grow Together meeting every Friday. They see me do my Maven Monday on the Monday as well, and then I try and inspire them to do blogs and different things as well.
I like that idea of tying it to content. I hadn't really thought about that part of it, because I mean we all do like stand-ups or meetings, but it's kind of nice to bring the values into how the culture is actually constructed.
And you said it as well, like there's a company there that's like, wow, you get values. This when you're marketing, you should really be marketing. So it's part of our values. This is what we do. Or it's honesty or something like this. So one of the things is honesty.
You show that.
And this is where I'm going to show you about the honesty. And then you just give an example of it. It's like it's a good way to do it.
I'm thinking maybe doing that with other stuff as well, because we put out the kind of videos we have with the intro, but there would be, I've kind of been thinking about it more and more. It might actually be something where that could be branded separately. Like it's the values are always depicted a certain way, because I think it's massive for me. And I kind of noticed as well when we put the posters up on the wall, and the last time I done it was like kind of stickers, like decals, and this time I done it as a poster, and I put it in the frames and stuff like that, and it was amazing. Like, so the engagement in that post was sky high in comparison to normal kind of posts. And I think it's like a lot of people, they maybe don't speak about it, but they really dial into this idea of values. And actually we've been asked by clients, would we help them with a branding exercise, or do a workshop with our team? And they're like, so what happens? Me and you talk about it, and I'm like, no, not at all. I says, we want to bring the team in. I says, you obviously have wants and goals for your culture, and understand that, right? So if the staff decide, right, this is the value, let's say you've got 5 staff and then half of them leave, and then you're kind of thinking, well, is it my culture, or is it? So it has to be a kind of joint effort. But I would definitely say bringing the staff into that and try to like pick up traits for the team as well. Like, I've always had this thing like an all senior team, but again, I've never been sort of confident enough to put it there as like a value, because I'm like, well, what if we do start hiring like a middleweight, or we do have the odd wee junior or something, because I want to give opportunity. But I've kind of got round it in different ways over the years. So I look at it like a kind of scale, if you imagine it. So I'm hiring senior staff, But then I'm thinking, right, well now you're discriminating against people that are maybe just coming into the sector, which is not what I want. So they're not really appropriate for our company because the way we're geared. But that doesn't mean I want to dismiss them and say, right, because that's the future. They might one day be in the company. So I've always tried to look at that like, right, well, if I go back to college or I run career days or I do like evening courses or things like that, then I'm actually actively trying to encourage this to happen in the sector without having to actually say, I'll hire you directly and try and give you meaning in that way. Because I think you do need to earn your kind of stripes through it, but I think it's people from a corporate background as well. So like BIP, for all it was like 270 or 300 odd staff, it did have that kind of corporation feel about it. And I think that's maybe why I was lucky enough to be exposed to values. Like, was it the same with yourself? Did you, like, where did you first come into contact with that?
I've been exposed to values. Like, I worked at Glasgow City Council, was big in values, big in kind of code of conduct and all that sort of stuff. Worked with other organisations. Did I feel, I think in some organisations, yes, I felt like there was a bit of a culture, but it was probably, do you feel that there's some things like integrity and all that, and it's all these kind of buzzwords like endeavour and integrity, and I was just like, I was like that. It's just,
sounds like Starship names.
Yeah, and like, and I don't feel. And then, as you said, then you would have like you speak to, like, especially bigger companies, you speak to staff members and they'd be like, man, I'm moaning about a customer or whatever, and I'm like that. Well, that's
it's interesting though how that still ends up where, even though that's all been said in the negativity, we still seen the value and we done something with it anyway.
Yeah, but it was really, I think it was really driven, as you said. You know, you never stop learning. I never stopped learning as well. I always looked to try and improve ways in the business. I seen that there was something maybe wrong in my business with people leaving, and then I kind of sourced where the problem is, and I thought, well, this is what I'm going to change, and actually going to bring this in. So again, that's why I did it, and it's totally worked. It's like, I really am so proud. You know, like, you go, like, I was going by, and it's almost like you get a wee kind of tear in the eye with some of the things that you're doing. You're like, that, well, I built this. You know, and it's great to see. You just get, you know, I feel the empowerment of it. You know, it's like building a business that essentially, like, you're building that culture, and you can see people living and breathing that culture. It's like such a wonderful thing.
It's a brilliant positive note to end it on as well. So in regards to like a belter for the day, Mark, like values, clearly we're both passionate about values, but what would be one belter, one bit of advice you would give to the audience? My
bit of advice I would give for anybody that is starting up a company, or even if they've started a company and they've not done it, I would go all the way back to the start and really try and look at your vision, your mission, and your culture. I'd say it's probably one of the first things you should do in business, because it's the clarity of why you in business, and that is, it's like a pinnacle thing within of what you should be doing. So I definitely would say, you know, if you've not done it, you know, go back, and work through it. There's lots and lots of guides out there. There's lots of businesses that are doing culture really, really well as well, and, you know, read up in what they do, and just teach yourself, and then try and implement your own culture. It's something that's unique to you. We can't tell you what the culture is. We can't tell you the buzzwords. It's something that's unique to your business, and you have to create it. What about your business belter?
So business belters for me would be, I think the importance of culture is massive. So when you're actually creating your values, it would be a case of trying to focus in on like the kind of DNA of the company. So probably a lot of it will come from you initially, like where it is, like what's important to you. So there'll be a backbone one that stands out probably above all others, and that should really be the first kind of value. But then the second and the third are harder to solidify, because you're kind of like trying to really tailor them down and think, right, what should they be? What I would say is, don't rush that process. Like, take your time apart, you know, maybe have an hour and a half, you know, or a couple of times, like maybe a week and then a week apart and a week apart, just to really sort of analyse it and say, is that really the best? Ask for feedback as well. You know, I was very quick to ask contacts like yourself and my coach and other people, just to say, this is what I kind of feel the values are and the team and what I'm trying to kind of create here. But it's always good to have a sounding board where they're going, what about this? That's like you. If you cut you through the middle, that's like who you are. But you've not said anything about that, and you go, that's a good point, by the way. That should probably be a value, and this one should maybe get pushed down a wee bit. So I would just say, try and be open to giving yourself the time and asking for the feedback to make sure you get it right would be mine.
Brilliant.
So just going to wrap us up there for the day, guys. That's been another great Business Belters. Today we're talking about values. Maybe we should get values for Business Belters.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about that when you were talking. So does your company have values? We all have them, but are they written down? Is it something you leverage? Is it something that you're building with your culture? I'm always interested in culture and building that within teams, just to change it up a little bit. If there's been a great book that you've recommended or read on culture, feel free to send that over. Send us a link to that on Amazon. We'll have a wee read of that as well. As always, please like and subscribe to the show. Remember to smash that like button and the thumbs up on YouTube, because it does help us out a lot. We've kind of noticed that the audience has been building. People have been engaging. They've been commenting on watching and listening to the shows. And that means a lot to me and Mark, because we put a lot of time into the episodes to try and give value to you. All that's left to say is it's a goodbye from me.
And it's a goodbye from him.
See you next week, guys.